Not wasting any time as the countdown started, and it's time to record the next episode of the Life of an Average Show podcast. What is up? It's Wednesday, and I am not wearing pink. I'm a little disheveled and disorganized, so let's drink. It's good. It's good. I told you guys I haven't been drinking much lately, but this wine is good, man. Um, and also, I don't have pink on today, guys. I don't have pink. It's Wednesday, and I don't have pink. And I've got a new light over there that's really bright, so I'm gonna have to work on that. But hey, we're here, and the studio. Let's talk about a couple things here. First and foremost, I hope you guys enjoyed the show with Nick Luck and myself as we dived into Superman last week. That was really fun. We're gonna have to tweak out the way we record. There's things that are going on when we're recording, and I don't care about the lag time. I don't care about that, but there's things that are happening um, just on this thing that it comes out one way, and then when I play it back, it's another. So it's getting frustrated. I'm gonna have to even devote more time into my show because that's what I want. But I'm excited because I'll be seeing Superman next week, and then Nick and I will be recording our part two of Superman, and then just like a mere week and a half later, I'll be seeing Fantastic Four. So I don't have pink on. It is Wednesday, and I don't have pink. I do have my Bowie shirt on, so that's cool. One of my mini Bowie shirts. But the reason I don't have my shirt on or my pink on is because I have a ton of laundry to do. It's been a busy week, and I just needed some. It was a busy week last week, and I just needed some time to like chill post 4th of July. I hope you guys had a good 4th of July. We were busy, um, obviously, but I know Luke had a good time, and then there's been a few things I've been thinking about though this summer. Let me adjust this, guys. I'm irritated by this. I'm going to adjust my seat. There we go. There's been a few things that I've been thinking about this summer in particular. I think I might move my whole setup. You know what? I'm getting irritated here real fast. I might move my setup. I might. We'll see. I really like this behind me because I can put the green screen if I want it. If I switch it the other way, I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's thinking, and I don't want to say this because I know what's going to happen. Texas, oddly enough, has not been that hot. I know. I shouldn't have said anything, but we are in July. Okay, we're like 7, 8 days in July. I don't know what date it is. We've hit 1 or 2 days of 100. We've had more rain than I even could imagine, to be honest with you, and horrible rain down in hill country. I mean, geez, the amount of people that they lost from that flood is crazy to me. It's sad too. But it hasn't been that hot. I mean, granted, my air is still coming on and racking up my electric bill, but in comparison, and that's because I'm on the 3rd floor too, but in comparison, it hasn't been that bad. Um, Now, this could change, and August could hit, and we could get 30 days of, in a row. We could get August and September, it could be 100 plus. I mean, that can happen. But I've also noticed too, and it just dawned on me, I didn't see any June bugs at all. Normally, I see June bugs in April. They can't even get their name right. I didn't see any at all. And I am not a bug expert. So I don't like, they come every year. It's not like the cicadas, and all these different styles of cicadas where they'd be buried in the ground for 5,000 years and they come up or whatever. June bugs are there on a regular basis. I never saw one. Weird, right? Is this like a biblical reference or like an end of times scientific global warming something I should pay attention to? Or is it just one of those things? I wish I knew, but I don't. Just something to think about. And then during the 4th of July, we had some torrential downpour for a little bit, but I was sitting on the patio. I didn't have my son with me. I know he had a great time. I didn't have him with me this year. We had fun post 4th of July, but I was sitting there drinking some wine, and had music on. And I'm just kind of unwinding because it had been a day or multiple days, to be quite honest with you. And I'm watching the fireworks. I'm hearing people at the pool. And then it was over. I went back inside to watch a movie. I watched Sinners, which is now on Max. And if I can take a minute, if you have not watched Sinners, Ryan Coogler is amazing. But if you have not watched Sinners, yes, watch it. It has got to be one of the most freshest, unique ideas, concepts. It adds a whole new layer to vampires, but it's not. It's guys. It's so much more than a vampire movie. Strictly, the themes, the acting, the music, the dialogue, the shots, the cinematography. Yeah, there's no wonder that that movie made a ton of money and was voted as probably one of the best movies in 2025 so far. So check that out. It's streaming on Max. I never saw it in the theater, believe it or not. I never saw it in the movie theater. I missed it. It just didn't line up, and I finally got to see it for the first time. Weird, somebody like me, right? But hey. But I went inside and was watching it, and I was thinking, about things. And then Luke and I watched Stand By Me, one of my favorite movies of all time, a short story by Stephen King. And I'm sure you guys know that movie. And if you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. But in simplicity, a group of friends in the summer find out that there's a dead body, and they go on an adventure to go look for it. These guys are like 10, 11, 12, all that. And it's fun because it is this group of boys that are in that phase where I think they're not 10, 11, 12. Did I say that? I think they're like 13, where they're still crossing into that teenage year, but they're still boys at heart with like, they're sneaking cigarettes, they're looking at girls, but they have a tree for it. Like that phase. It's a phenomenal movie. It's a great soundtrack. It's good acting. It's well written. It's just a great movie. And it took me back. And I think this movie in particular speaks to boys. I'm not saying that girls don't go through this, but in particular, it took me back because this movie is about friendship, but it's looking at it from a standpoint of these boys, and they realize what happens, as you grow up. Friends come and go, moments come and go in the past, and you remember when you get older because you do look back. I don't know what it is as we approach certain ages in our life where we look back. I don't believe in living in the past because I think that's a big mistake. But I think like having those moments to reflect on the past or having those moments to discuss the past, especially if it's friends and it's a happy moment, even if it's a tragic moment, I think that's okay. I think when we sit there and that's all we have to talk about is remember when, it is probably one of the most lowest forms of conversation. And I know you're sitting there, Brandon, good dude, that's your podcast, but not really. There's times where it's remember when and times where it's right now. So, but I think this movie does a really good job of that. And it got me thinking because I know times changed or times have changed. I get it. They're always changing. Sometimes the more they change, the more they seem to stay the same in certain aspects. From movies to music to what's trending to what's popular to drinks and all that. But I look back and I observe a lot. And I observe like when I'm out and about. I'm at the store. And this could be with or without Luke. I'm at a restaurant. I'm at work. I'm at a park. I'm making my run. I'm at the movies, or concert. And it got me thinking, I don't see a ton of young dudes, kids in general, but dudes out on their summer. It's summertime. What is everybody doing? Now, granted, it's where you live and all that, but I don't see it. What are you saying, Brandon? You don't see young kids? No. That movie and even the 4th of July reminded me of how peak those moments are. Are kids out there building tree forts anymore? You know what I mean? Sure, somewhere, right? But are they? Are they going on adventures? Are they being creative outside, spending all day outside, running, basketball, swimming, sitting around in a dirt field, laying around after they've been sweating, drinking water, drinking a pop, talking about the girls that they want to get with at the age of 14? Are they? I remember going on adventures with my friends. True adventures. When we moved into the subdivision out in South Lyon, and we were out of the city, my subdivision and my parents, where they picked us to build the house, used to be like an old farm and cornfield. And some of it was still a farm or an old cornfield. It was very new developed. The road we were on was a dirt road, and the subdivision wasn't even complete yet. It had a giant pond in the back with the spring fed pond, whatever. Giant field behind us. Woods over here. Some guy owned a property, and in the middle were giant woods, and then it had a barbed wire fence all around it. Woods separated the subdivision I was in from another subdivision that I would visit quite frequently with a friend of mine long before that. And then there was a nature trail that you would go through, and it was all woods, and sometimes there's bats and there are coyotes, and then if it was flooded you couldn't go in there, but they would come out and there'd be a bridge that would go over the trail, and there was a swamp. The dirt road led further down to like random houses and trail. There was a lot of woods everywhere. And my friends, there was a group of about 5 or 6 of us that would hang out. 2 of my buddies were homeschooled, so they had a very different lifestyle than I did. One of my buddies was younger than me, and whatever, and we would bounce between the 2 subdivisions across from each other, and they had a pond over there, and we had a pond, and our pond was better. It was always treated nice and taken care of, and giant snappers in there and fish and stuff like that. But I remember every day in the summer was an adventure. We got out and took our bike. Sometimes I'd just be doing this, zipping around, riding around, looking to see who was there if nobody was around. I'd have to check in with my mom or dad every now and then, Maybe I'd come back home to get a drink or pee, or if I didn't, just go pee behind something, Sometimes I'd go fishing by myself, but ultimately I was rolling with somebody. And when I mean rolling, I'm not like, hey, let's hang out for an hour. We were rolling. I built so many forts. We had these forts. I mean, I remember this one fort. It was in the back, and we'd dig, and we were digging and digging and digging, and we covered it up with plywood and just put dirt. You had to get down. It was like the Viet Cong, like climbing it. You know what I mean? And we were in there just hanging. That was a fort. And then I remember we had there was this part of the nature trail that you'd veer off into, and ultimately we'd get poison ivy at some point. But we'd veer off into, and this tree kind of went over. It was like kind of hunched over. It was big and hunched over and went over the water. And we built a tree fort on there. Just had some wood, and we had a couple walls, and we would just climb the tree and hang out and sometimes fish off of it and get torn up by mosquitoes, or something. Snakes in the tree. Crap like that. And we just hang out. Nothing to do. Somebody would leave, go home. Maybe they had to go home. They might come back later. Chances are somebody was there. And sometimes, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have pagers. Yeah, we could call on the house phone. We never did that. We just go to somebody's house. Or you know what? I'm going to go to one of our 5 different forts and go hang out. That's what we would do. And we'd go on adventures. Went on snake hunts. I mean, dude, I got bit. My buddy tried to tell me I was going to have to go to the hospital. Wasn't even that. It was a rat. It was like a corn snake or something stupid like that. But it bit me, I was bleeding. It didn't feel great. We discover things. Went in this part of the woods. I knew we shouldn't have been there, but we were there. We're pretty sure it butted up to somebody's property, but there's all this busted up equipment, like building. And I'm not talking like, shovels. I'm talking like bulldozers, things like that, but busted, been there forever. Like, vines growing on it, rusted out, and we'd explore it. We just explore. We found it. We found this giant, pile of like wood and all these burnt documents. We're trying to read them. And then we'd come up with these stories of what could they be, drug mules, or, there was murders, there was the mafia, and we would just go on these adventures. We went gecko hunting and salamander hunting, and not gecko, salamander hunting. And I remember we had these big giant fishing boots on and rubber because we want to get leeches like in Stand By Me. When that happened in Stand By Me, I was like, oh yeah, yeah. And we'd have bugs, thorns stuck in our arms. And adventures. We walk to, when it got a little old enough, we'd go to Irwin's apple orchards. Eventually I worked there, but we go to Irwin's. Now, where my house was, you could walk down Pontiac Trail to Irwin's, but that was a busy road, or you could cut through this guy's property. And it was big property. Chances are he wasn't going to see you, but it was a risk. His house was way on one side. You cut through the middle, and there's a giant circle of woods in the middle. And I climb a barbed wire fence, and we do that. We didn't tell our parents, of course, but that was an adventure. You had to hide from him. And sometimes we just go to the orchard, grab some apples, donuts, cider, some sort of pop, come back and sit in this middle of the woods. And we had a fort on this guy's property in the middle of these little round woods. Is cornfield all around us. We had a fort. And it was cool because nobody would go there. Occasionally, we'd have to be careful because we'd hear the guy walking there, or he'd come throw some wood over there and burn it. But he never paid attention to the fort. He just never went that deep in the woods, but we would have to hide down and duck. And we just hang out. Just all day. All day doing nothing. Fishing. Shooting BB guns. Coming up with wild stories. I think that house is haunted. Let's go at night and find out. Does anybody do that anymore? Does anybody do things like that anymore? Has that time and that crucial dawn or coming of age moment, and it applies to girls too, but in this situation I'm talking about young men, does that happen? Or has social media and our technology and movies and the ready accessible information, has that kind of ruined it? Has iPads made our kids grow up too fast? And I ask that in a legitimate question, not as a 46-year-old man. So I go, you're so out of touch. No, I have a 7.5-year-old, beyond half. He's going to be 8 soon. And I know the importance of adventures. I know the importance of imagination. And I always do that. I always encourage imagination because imagination sparks creativity. And honestly, if you don't have imagination, even at the age of 46, what are you doing? I mean, how are you enjoying life in this day and age? And with the pressures of money and rent and bills and relationships, how are you enjoying it? You can't sit down and just play with action figures and create some scenario. I want to encourage that with him as long as possible. And that's why we go outside. That's why we not just play sports, but we play things. We're in the pool and we're swimming and lounging, but maybe we're pretending there's a shark in there and we're getting attacked, or he turned into a zombie in the pool. Now he's trying to attack me. Like imagination. Or maybe him and I just go for a walk to get a Slurpee because we can walk on the sidewalk all the way there. Sure, it's not as venturous as crossing a barbed wire fence, but we're walking to get a Slurpee. Or maybe we're going to walk up and he's going to get one of his Starbucks refreshers, or maybe, hey, let's just walk and get an ice cream. And we do that. Is that happening anymore? Or are we just shoving screens in the next generations to come, and they are missing out on that twilight moment? I remember all the adventures. I remember just the countless bikes dropped off at somebody's house. That's how you knew where everybody was. If you couldn't find them in the fort, you drove to the hot spots. All right. They're not at my buddy Sean's house. They at Dan's house. They're at Mike's house. Boom, look, there's 9 bikes in the driveway. They're somewhere. And you start then knocking on the door. Hey, are they here? Oh, no, they went up the hill. All right, I'm just going to walk up that hill. I'm going to cut through the woods and walk up the hill to try to find them. Oh, cool, they're chilling at one of the forts that I forgot about. Perfect. Oh, they're just sitting on top of the hill. He's smoking a cigarette, hiding it from his mom, and he's eating ice cream. Cool, that's what I'm going to do. Does that happen anymore? Or are we just sneaking out to go do, E and fuck, E, right? Are we, to go drink and freaking meth and drugs and do stupid TikTok challenges? What are we doing? And that's a crucial moment. And I would have been one of those kids and Stand By Me. I would have been one of those kids. Oh, there's a dead body. Man, we found a dead deer and I had to go drive on my buddy's bike to go look for it because my bike had a flat tire. So I got his busted old bike. I gotta go. Going down Martindale, dirt road. Make a left, go down here. Oh, there's a dead deer. All right. Look at it for a few minutes. All right, let's go back. It added nothing. Seeing a dead deer added nothing to my life, right? No, but the adventure did. the fact that we were going somewhere we shouldn't be going, the fact that we did it together, and the stories we told along the way, and the laughter and the fun, and then we got to tell it to everybody. Guys, you know what we did? We went down to Dixboro. Yeah, I'm just naming roads that some of you will know, and we found a dead deer. It's crazy. Oh, bro, you found a dead? Yeah, his eyeballs out. He had a skull. It was like hanging out. Looked like Night of Living Deer. You know, you did that? Yeah. Oh, dude. Legends. Not all heroes wear capes. But then as we got older, yo, check this out, man. I got the new NWA album. Ice Cube just dropped this cassette tape. Bring the little boombox, battery operated boombox. 4 giant Duracell monster batteries for an hour's worth of listening, you know. Boom, play that Ice Cube. Play that new Prince, Michael Jackson, Guns N' Roses, Firehouse. I think CDs were out then because I had my first CD was Firehouse and Bobby Brown. But I mean, this is before that. But that's what we would do: just listen over and over. Flip the tape, yo. I got Toys in the Attic cassette tape, just classic. Obviously, Toys in the Attic came out before I was born, you know. But we got it, you know. Yo, I got Guns N' Roses, Lies, Lies, Lies. Oh, play it. I got a bootleg. Roscoe, shut up, man. Hey, I just got this tape. I got this underground set. Let's check it out. Boom. Put the tape in. I just traded some tapes down in Detroit with my brother. Come on. That's what we would do. Are they doing that now? I mean, obviously they're not listening to tapes, but I'm just saying, like, when was the last time that you could think about it? I mean, like, seriously, when was the last time everybody got together and listened to an album? Yeah, I know you got Spotify and Apple Music and all kinds of ways, but I know when Kendrick dropped that last album, when he dropped GNX, bro, that was on my Spotify repeat. Luke and I, come on, dude, let's go through each track. Boom. We might have been doing stuff. We might have been playing. We might have been walking. We might have been cleaning. We might have been driving. We listened to that album as a party. I do that now, man. I stayed up all night listening to that last Lil Wayne album. I don't know why, but I did. Do they do that anymore? And if not, why? I remember walking to downtown South Lyon. That was a journey, man, because we walked. Freaking walked. We might have rode our bikes, actually, now I think about it. We did. So you'd go down my street, this dirt road, and there'd be like a trail. It was like an old railroad track or something. And it would cut all the way to where South Lyon High School was, and then you could take the sidewalk and be downtown. And we did that. At the time, I think South Lyon High School, yeah, it was, yeah. The new South Lyon High School. I say new. It was new to me because the middle school we were in was the old high school, and they built that high school, and that's the one we went to. But and then now there's a second one too, but we don't talk about the second one because it's garbage. And we just went downtown. You know, South Lyon movies. You guys have heard me talk about South Lyon Cinema. They're like $2. I think it was like $1.50 at the time, but $2. And then I think it's called Goodies or Goody Goody, not the liquor store, was next door. It was an ice cream place. Oh, we got to get back, dude. We got to get back. We've been down here like 2 hours. We got to get back. It took us, 45 minutes to get there on bikes. What do you mean we got it? And that would be our adventure nobody ever knew. Sometimes we spend the night at our buddy's house just to go downtown and just hang out. Because what are you doing in 5th and 6th grade, 7th grade? Hang out after school, after middle school, and walk across the street to the grocery store. Walk to McDonald's. Man, I'm just going to meet these guys at McDonald's. I got to stay after school today. I'm going to go meet them at McDonald's. Just hang out. It's before there was like a Dairy Queen there and all that. These were the things, and I wonder now, I know they do that. I know kids are like, hey, man, we're going to go here, but I know that, but it's different. I don't feel like it. I don't see it, I mean, even when I've gone camping with Luke, we've rented a cabin, and him and I are hiking around, and I find these little trails that are supposed to go down, and there's a playground, and there's all kinds of kids that we've run across, but nobody's on the playground. Luke and I be walking, and like, you want to go on that playground for me? Like, yeah, let's do it. Creating an adventure. It's like everybody got too old too fast to create those adventures anymore. And even on the 4th of July, I remember, and I can go back to 4th of July's and, sit in fireworks at Bear Ass Beach or Kensington or whatever, or downtown Detroit, I told you Ken and I saw Prodigy on the 4th of July, and we walked out, and they were doing the Detroit fireworks right there, right along the river. So him and I were just downtown Detroit just after we walked out seeing Prodigy. and then boom, just looking at the fireworks. But even, oops, I just kicked my table. That's good. Even prior to that, though, and what are we gonna do on the 4th, guys? Wanna go so and so's out? Man, let's just ride to the park. Okay, you spend the night here. I spend the night. Ride to the park. Be like 10 of us, a couple girls with us. We might get a kiss if we were lucky. You know what I'm saying? Watching fireworks, laughing, talking about stuff that didn't matter. Talking about, we didn't think about the end of summer. We thought about right now. We were talking about, what kind of fish were in this lake? How many dead bodies were in this lake? What if we found one? What would happen? Like all these conversations, our own adventures in our own mind, and then we go land at somebody's house. It was one of the best moments of our life. Summer felt like it was a lengthy time. And I know when you get older, time goes by faster. I get that because you're more aware of it and you have more responsibilities and deadlines, which is why I think school sucks. And I think that, especially in Texas, and I think that kids spend way too much time there. That's that. I'm just going to say it, and I'll have teachers argue with me and parents argue with me, but you can go ahead and argue all you want. I'm right, you're wrong. Summer was a moment, was a length. And yeah, when Labor Day came around back in Michigan, okay, we going out with a blaze of glory, man. This is the final time we're taking the boat out. This is the final time I get to go to the cabin. This is the final time we go to Kensington, or my buddy's going to close the pool after Labor Day. And then you went back to school, and then you started your adventures all over again. But you always waited till summer to build that next fort. And I'm not saying that during the school year we didn't go on our own adventures, but streetlights come on, or well, there was no streetlights at the time at my parents' place, but okay, it's getting dark. And then when the sun goes down, you'd be looking like, it's not quite down yet. I got 10 more minutes, until people start like opening the door and looking. You could see parents. Where'd Dan go? And Brandon. Even where I live now, other than the little kids that are with their parents, that they take them to the park, take them on bike rides and skateboards and all that crap. And the pool, I don't see anybody walking. I don't see anybody in the evening like, hey, we're just going to sit together on the patio and chill. Like, and I'm talking like what I would do at that age. I don't see it. Just trapped in a house on a screen. What are they doing? How boring, too. And why do we allow it? Why do we allow that creativity and the adventures? And people are like, well, Brandon, it's a different world now. The stuff that we did back then, would you let your son do at that age? No, I wouldn't, man. It's scary. But there's a way to have the best of it. And just because we did it doesn't mean it was right. Just because our parents let us run around, our Gen Xers run around unsupervised like a bunch of feral children and turned us into this, doesn't mean it was right. But I feel like, look at the alternative right now. The alternative is they're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything. I don't want Luke to live his life on the streets, but I also don't want Luke to be stuck to the screen. I don't want Luke to be stuck to a controller or be conditioned by a school to lose your imagination and your creativity. I'm not going to allow that, nor do I want that. I want him to have friends so bad. We're getting together with one of his buddies this summer, and I know it's hard as parents and all that to get together, and especially at 8 years old, but he needs that, man. He doesn't just need to hang out with me and his sisters and his mom or whatever, his dog, his cat. He needs that. And it's hard, My cat's just looking at me like, you said something? It's hard. So we're going to actually get together this week, actually, hang out with one of his buddies, which I think is super important because all he hangs out with is older people and school. So his outlet when he goes to school is going to be his buddies, and then he's going to be distracted from the lessons and all that. It's really crucial, man. It's freaking crucial. And it also makes it hard, too, because, I'm a single dad, so not many parents are like, oh, come on over and hang out. Bring your wife. We can have dinner and, well, the kids play. Nobody asks, like, hey, come on over, bring your let's invite the single dad over to have dinner with us while our kids play. Doesn't really happen usually, though. I have had, play dates with Luke where we'd go somewhere. And that's the other weird thing, too, is like, I try to like plan those for him and hope that the dad will come to those. So maybe me and the dad can kick it. And it's just, oh, dad can't make it, but my wife can. And then I feel weird. I'm over at Jump Zone with like a married woman trying to carry a convo while our kids play, but also not trying to carry too much of a convo. I don't want anything. I don't know her. I don't want any weird, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so much easier when you lived by somebody, you know? Go play with the kids in the neighborhood, but I don't even know if the kids in the neighborhood come out to play anymore. I think we're missing that. And I think that movie, Stand By Me, reminded me of that. And even like, there's a great scene on the 4th of July in one of my favorite movies, and I can't remember what it is, but they're all like walking in the street and like there's fireworks everywhere. And it reminds me of certain parts of the areas I live in, but you just knew, oh, you're going to go to the fireworks tonight? Cool. I got to go home and eat dinner, but I'll see you again tonight. After we just played all day, after we went on our adventures, and after we probably shot off our own fireworks, and we would go home and inevitably not shower, but try to rinse off, hang out, and then go meet our friends at the fireworks show. Does that even happen now? I mean, I'm sure it does. My point is, I think that growing up and kids and youth and parents are missing a crucial piece. And I think that there's a lot of ways that I'm guilty, that social media is guilty, that electronics, that society is guilty, that schools are guilty. And I think we have to go. I think that's one of those things that we can go back to. We can go back to discover, and I hate this chair, it's squeaky, it's like a screw loose, and in my head too. We can go back and discover, and we can figure out what to give to those people, what to present to our children. If it's pouring rain outside, I get it. Play video games, watch movies. If it's nice out, yo, let's go to the pool. Let's go play basketball. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a bike ride. Let's go on a hiking trail somewhere. Let's go to a brand new park we've never been to. And I got to be better at that too. I mean, especially like after a long week, you're tired and working, and maybe you're broke. It doesn't cost anything to go to a park, pack up some sandwiches, grab some bottles of water, let's roll. Just saying. And I think we're missing that. I don't know. Let me know, guys. I'm back next week. I got a very fun episode. We're going to dive into some more pop culture. Got some animated movies. I'm by myself, but I'm going to go back to some animated films. And we're going to talk about some of the best animated films, I think, and some of the ones I think that need to be revisited. I got this idea when I was at work talking about movies, and so we're going to talk about that next week. And then I have another episode that's going to be really dedicated to the men out there, but I think women should listen too. And then Nick Luck will be back. Man, I've got so much coming on the Life of an Average Show podcast. Thank you, guys. Have a great night, day, whatever it is. Be safe.